First item on the agenda is discussion regarding Commissioner District 2, Seat 2 status.
Alrighty, thank you all for coming tonight. Commissioners, we're here to discuss how to fill the vacancy that has occurred with the resignation of Commissioner James Taylor, District 2, Seat 2. Mr. Taylor is currently incarcerated and has resigned. We are meeting tonight because our city will continue to move forward, and we wanted to do this quickly to discuss how we fill the vacancy, to make a 5-person commission again. But until then, I know that I speak for myself and my fellow commissioners. We will move this city forward, and I would like to say that we love this city, and this city will not be defined by the actions of one person. Mr. Chess, do you have anything to add to this?
Yes, Madam Mayor and Commissioners. As you noted, earlier this afternoon, Commissioner Taylor's attorney submitted his letter of resignation to our attorney, Ms. Hedges, and I'll just let Ms. Hedges discuss the next steps forthcoming.
Ms. Hedges.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. So Ms. Cox and I have put together a PowerPoint for you all to kind of explain where we are, where we're going, and hopefully to answer some of the questions that I think are kind of swirling around and lingering. So we're going to kind of trade off on some different slides here to give you all some information. So we did receive Commissioner Taylor's resignation this afternoon. A copy is on the slide. I believe Ms. Cox has also posted that to our website, and it has been sent out. So upon his resignation, the charter says that when there are more than 6 months between a vacancy being created, which is what this letter of resignation does, we are required to have a special election. If it is less than 6 months, the charter says it's handled differently. But because we have more than 6 months until the next general election, we are required to hold a special election. That is how the vacancy will be filled. So Ms. Cox has been working with the supervisor of election to get that arranged and give you information, and she will give you that information now.
Thank you. Ms. Cox.
Madam Mayor, Commissioners, yes, Gertrude Walker, the supervisor of election, and her staff have been working over the weekend to try to get this timeline together in anticipation of receiving a letter of resignation. So basically, we will come before you at our next regularly scheduled meeting on August 4th with the declaration declaring a special election by resolution, and that resolution will set forth the dates of a special meeting. Upon receiving that declaration of a special election, we'll submit that to the supervisor of election, who will transmit that to the state in accordance with Florida Statute 100.141, and the state will then certify that we will have a special election, and it goes to the Secretary of State, and they have to formally establish all the dates and the qualifying and all of that. So basically, the dates that have been established and that will be certified by the state are as follows, as you can see on the slide. Basically, the soonest we can do a special election is 90 days. So the deadlines, if someone would like to qualify by petition, would be August the 12th. The qualifying will begin on August 18 at noon. The qualifying period will end August 22nd at noon. The special primary election will be held on November 4th. In an event we need a runoff election, that would be held on January 20th of 2026. Now, what would require a runoff election is if we have 3 or more persons that qualify as candidates for the special election. All of those persons' names that qualified shall appear on the ballot and be voted upon at that special primary election in November. In the event that no single candidate receives a majority of the votes cast in that primary election, then the 2 persons receiving the highest number of votes will move on to the runoff city election that is in January. It's no different than our regular elections, but I just thought it would be important for everybody to understand. There's some examples for you here. But it's basically in order to have the election finalized in November, one candidate would have to receive 50 votes or 50% plus one vote. Now, in a special election in the city, write-in candidates are not permitted. So some of the things that we need to consider for this special election when, in the last general election in District 2, we had 14,284 registered voters, and we had a 70% voter turnout in that election. I want to remind everybody that under the city charter, only residents of District 2 are eligible to vote in this city election. We had the single district elections.
Can I interject a question there real quick?
Commissioner
Linda,
Broderick.
what is the timeline necessary for them to have been living in the district?
They must be living in the district for 2 years
2 years, thank you.
To run.
in order to run, yes.
To run, yeah.
Qualified for it.
To qualify, yeah.
Qualify to
Yeah,
run.
to qualify, yeah. Thank you.
Living in a registered voter, yes, qualified elector. So under the city charter, we are not required to have the regular polling places adopted for a special election. So one of the things that we can consider this evening is, do you want to shrink the number of polling places? We also are not required to have early voting for special elections. We would have, if we do decide to have early voting would be October 25th through November 1st. The vote by mail request must be, the deadline for those requests is October 23rd. And we have to remind everybody that you do have to request a vote by mail ballot for each election. The estimated cost for the special election is $60,000. Now, I put these two questions out there for you for consideration. It wouldn't be my recommendation that we shrink the number of polling places or that we don't have the early voting. Just people are creatures of habit. We're used to going to our polling places. That's where we go. So, but I wanted to put that out there. Should we decide to shrink the number of polling places and eliminate early voting, it could decrease the cost of the election. By how much, I don't know. We didn't get that much into the details of the election because this is truly just an estimate. The actual cost is what we will be billed at the end of the election.
So, Madam Mayor, so that was a question that was coming in my mind is based on what you presented here. We have questions, but we really can't answer because I need to know the number of polling places in District 2 that will be there and what would perhaps I'm considering to shrink. And then as a result of that, I'm looking at a budget item here that, again, would impact that based on us either decreasing that. And then the other caveat is the early voting. So based on the estimate here of 60, is that inclusive of early voting and just normal process of voting places in District 2? And am I correct on that, that these are voting places in District 2 only?
Correct.
Okay, all right. I just want to be clear.
There's nine voting places. I have
Nine,
to,
okay.
Our next slide shows you,
Got it. Thank you.
yeah, the 9 voting places.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I would interject that it's been my observation that early voting is a very popular option, and people really take advantage of that to avoid the lines the day of the election, et cetera. It's going to help, I think, drive the turnout, which we want. We want all the citizens' input. We want all the registered voters to have the ability and the accessibility to vote. So I believe, since that's been the practice now for multiple election cycles, I believe that we would be best served to continue that.
I agree. I think that we try to make this as normal as possible, even though this is a special election. We try to make this business as usual, try to give every opportunity for the candidates to file and every opportunity for the people to vote. I agree.
Yeah.
Madam Mayor,
Commissioner Gaines?
yeah, I want to do whatever we did for the special election in District 1. When Commissioner Alexander passed away, there was a special election. And whatever we did in District 1, Let's not change it now. Let's not do anything now. Let's keep what we've been doing. And if I remember right, in that election, it was 3 of us that ran in that special election. It was 3 of us that ran. And if I can remember right, people had the right to vote early. People had the right to vote by mail-in ballots. And then people had the right to vote on election day. And I don't remember any polling places being closed because I think I traveled to all of them during that election to see everybody and thank everybody, to vote. So whatever we did, it's already been established. Whatever we did, let's just keep it, because the last thing I want is for somebody to say that now the city is trying to direct or do whatever with this election. Let people vote how they used to be in voting, and let's move on. My question is just simple as this. I agree with everybody, let people vote. There's $60,000. Where are we getting this from? And I'm not, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be funny, but last week at 1 o'clock, I sat into a budget hearing, the second part of a budget hearing, because that was a special meeting, and we fought about every penny. So I'm trying to figure out where and we asked departments to cut funds then. And we came up with the negative, and we were still trying to do something. So where are we getting this money?
So,
Mention
first of all, our budget's not final.
It's not final, but
Right,
but now we gotta
so
go back.
now Ms. Morris has to do her magic once again. But Ms. Cox, have you identified any place where this money is coming from?
No, ma'am, we
Okay.
haven't got that
All
far
right.
in the process.
All right, Mr. Chess,
We'll speak with our finance director. We have to keep in mind that some of these funds will spill over into next fiscal year. So there's a possibility that we can use funds from this fiscal year and funds from the following fiscal year, so we don't have to take the hit in one fiscal year.
right?
We can
Well,
discuss
I
that
think
with,
that
director.
we have to make arrangements for that in our budget, and our budget's not final yet.
It's not, Madam Mayor.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I have one suggestion. Obviously, this is an emergency situation. We may want to look at that as an option, our emergency retainage that we carry and carry forward as a source of funding this, because this truly is an emergency situation, similar to a natural disaster, candidly, because it is a disaster. And so I'm just suggesting, when you're analyzing the budget scenarios, let's just keep that in mind and raise that as an option that the commission can take a look at.
And we cannot not spend the money.
All right, we
No,
got
this is,
Yeah,
this is an
We
absolute.
cannot, yeah, right. Right. So are we agreed, same number of polling, same?
I actually thought Arnold was going to loan the city money for this.
Oh, not me. Not me.
0.0%.
Hey, yes,
Go. Same thing, let's go.
Yeah, no. I could respond to that, but I'm gonna leave that alone tonight. But no, it's just, again, all I want is whatever happened during the special election when Commissioner Alexander, we ran for Commissioner Alexander last seat. Don't know how much we spent then, but whatever we did then, let's do it now, so we won't have any email saying, well, they treated different than District 2. Let's do the right thing. We got the resignation today. Let's move on, because it's almost like, I say it, it's almost like every time City of Fort Pierce take a step forward, we taking 2 steps back, something comes back. So, but Madam Mayor, I agree with what you said in your opening statement. The 4 of us will continue to, along with the charter officers, city manager, city clerk, and Madam Attorney, the 4 of us will continue to run the city. It's been done before, because again, when Commissioner Alexander passed away, it was 4 commissioners that ran the city. So we're going to run the city, and it's more time for us, and we have to tighten our ties, and we don't have any on today, but just do what we have to do to make sure that the city is run how we were elected to run it. So again, as long as we don't do anything different than the special election when we had for Commissioner Alexander, I'm fine with this. So I agree with everything that Madam Mayor and Commissioner said.
Okay. Do we have any other decisions to make, Ms. Cox?
No, ma'am.
And we can do that by consensus,
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
right?
It'll
Because
all
that's
come
what
back.
because we're doing what we normally do.
Exactly, exactly.
All righty. And so if there's no other discussion for any, Ms. Hedges, Mr. Chess, Ms. Cox, Commissioners,
Hedges.
I'm going to move on.
One,
Okay.
just so we clear, and we might have said it, but just so we clear, because there's been some stuff going around in the public. This is an election for residents of District 2.
And the map's on the, on.
Yes,
It's on there. So if you're living in District 2, you can vote for this seat. If you've been living in District 2 for more than 2 years and you want to run and throw your hat in, abide by the breakdowns and or go see the city clerk and she will guide you how to do the paperwork. So just clear all the other nonsense out there that, everybody can vote. This is a District 2 vote, and that's where we are.
Yeah, and that's an important point. If you have questions, Ms. Cox is our election official, and you can contact her. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Mayor, I just
Commissioner
wanted to reiterate the fact that, and assure the citizens of the city of Fort Pierce that business is going to continue to take place in the city. We have many initiatives that are underway, large and small, a variety of things going on. Currently, candidly, the city is very, very busy with activity and development and things of this nature. City Commission is not going to take their eye off the ball of accomplishing those business tasks that we are handed. And I'm absolute in that, and I know my fellow commissioners and the mayor are absolute in that as well. Business will continue. The other thing I wanted to point out is I know that this has been a stressful time for the employees of the city of Fort
Yes,
Pierce.
it has.
And I wanted to first thank them for their professionalism in dealing with this matter to date. I know that professionalism will continue moving forward. But on top of that, I wanted them to give them the assurance that business is going to get handled by the commission. That's an absolute stop. And that I look forward to dealing with the city staff on a continuing basis to make sure that that takes place. And I'm committed, as I know the rest of the folks up here are, to make sure that that happens. And this is a seamless process from business ongoing through the election, as seamless as elections can be, and then introducing a new representative from District 2. That's it.
Well said. Okay, so you have all you need to know. We can move on to the next item.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam Mayor, back to me.
Hedges.
Yes, ma'am. Still the same item, but a little more information that we wanted to provide you because I think we've all been getting questions related to what's going on, what are the options. The resignation put a fine point on that in that there is a finality to it because there has been a resignation, but so that you all have all of the information and we know the other options that existed. Related to the city commission itself, you all do not have the ability to remove one of your own for any reason. You cannot require their resignation. You can't vote to remove them. So your options were limited to much of nothing, quite honestly. The Code of Ordinances does state that if a commissioner misses 4 consecutive regular meetings without an excuse, they are automatically removed. That, however, does not even require your vote because it's automatic under the the Code of Ordinances. So your abilities were extremely limited as a commission with what you could do based on this arrest. The other ability that exists relates to the governor. This is controlled by Florida State Statute 112.51. So there are really 2 ways that the governor could have suspended a commissioner. One is related to different instances of malfeasance, misfeasance. You can see on the slide, neglect of duty, habitual drunkenness, incompetence, or permanent inability to perform official duties. That's not really the section of that statute that we're under. It's really in the beginning there related to someone that has been arrested for a state felony offense. What the statute says, though, is that the governor's ability to suspend that elected official, that commissioner, is triggered by the filing of a formal charging document by the state attorney's office. That is what we would call an indictment from a grand jury or an information from a prosecutor, from a state attorney. The arrest alone is not enough to trigger that portion of the statute for the governor to suspend an elected official. So the arrest occurred Thursday. The information is what, when it is filed, would have triggered the governor's ability to make any sort of suspension. It's important to note, though, that that is only a suspension. Under that statute, what then would have happened is there would have been a temporary vacancy that got filled until the charges were resolved in a circuit court. The statute goes on to explain that it's only upon a conviction that the governor could actually remove that person. And I think, as we all know, sometimes court cases in the criminal world take quite a while. So there would be a temporary person that would be sitting there following this suspension until a permanent removal actually happened. In this situation, we don't have to wait for that because we did receive the resignation much sooner. It's also important to note that under that statute, that if the elected official were to be found not guilty, have their charges dismissed, any way that they are not actually convicted, they would actually be restored to their position, have that suspension lifted, they would be entitled to back pay. And so that would be a totally different scenario. But again, we don't even get there because we received the resignation. The final real option that existed was, I think, what we all kind of know commonly as a voter recall. So there is a state statute, 100.361, that controls this. There is a lot of information in there. I am not going to get into all of it. But essentially, that is a petition by the registered voters. I put in District 1. It should be District 2. I apologize. 1 and 2s are not my best today. So it's the voters in the district that he was elected from, District 2, to be clear. Linda's given me
I didn't catch it either.
a
I'm
death
sorry.
glare. But interestingly, in that statute as well, it says that this petition for the recall cannot be filed against an elected official until they've served 1/4 of their term. So that means January of 2026 for Commissioner Taylor's seat. So again, that would have been the earliest for a petition for recall, again, a lot later than what we are dealing with here now with that resignation. And so I believe that's my last slide. Just kind of wanted to give you all the lay of.
Well, I think it's important for us to know, but also important the people who are listening here and the people that will watch this later on, that why we're moving tonight and the way we're moving.
Yes, ma'am.
And the fact that the resignation has triggered this. And so any questions of Ms. Hedges? Yes, sir.
I actually have a follow-up comment. I've had many inquiries asking why the city commission doesn't have the ability to remove one of its own. And I just want to say, for the entire citizenry of Fort Pierce, personally, I believe that would be a very, very bad idea. You want to talk about the possibility of using a political weapon against a member of the city commission, that would certainly set up, in my opinion, an awful set of circumstances for anybody sitting up here, candidly, be it based on issue-based matter or a party-based matter, whatever the case may be. That's simply, in my opinion, a non-starter. I believe the processes that are in place afford us the ability to manage a situation like this, just like we have done here. As you're all aware, or if they're not aware, there were a rather extensive initiative to communicate with the governor's office regarding this. I'd like to thank our state elected officials who were very helpful in that process. That plug has been pulled based on receiving the letter of resignation. Options here to deal with unfortunate circumstances such as this to manage the situation without turning that capability over to a raising of the hand
Could
here.
it possibly political?
That would be my biggest fear.
Right,
So
right.
I am personally satisfied with the processes that are in place, because I believe it affords the protections that duly elected officials should have afforded to them here, and not some process that can be used as a political baseball bat. So I'm good with it. And I just want to say it on the record because I've had a zillion inquiries about this. And my commentary on this has been the same all across the board.
Right, right. Any other comments by commissioners? Anything else? Okay, Ms. Hedges, you're good?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Mayor. I think Ms. Cox explained we will be bringing a resolution to you on August 4th related to setting the special election. That will be the vote to officially set that. We don't need any votes tonight. That'll be brought back to you on August 4th.
Barring any unforeseen circumstances, the dates that you gave us tonight will hold.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, just for the correction, if you could correct that for the record and make sure it's back on the portal so people can download the appropriate information. And I think the other thing too, as soon as we have this information, I know it will be broadcast just like we do anything else, but I'm asking for our marketing department to send out text messages like we do for everything else to make sure people are aware that we're having a special election and only those that live in District 2 have the ability to vote in the special election.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And may I have one further request? Linda, is it possible to send the schedule of dates to the commissioners, just so we have it handy? It'd be handy to print that up and hold
Yeah,
on to it.
I have the packets that I usually prepare for everybody already put together, so I can share that with you as well.
Anything else? Any other commissioner? All righty. Now I think we'll move on.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is comments from the public.
Okay, this is the opportunity for any member of the public to comment, and you have 3 minutes. Please state your name and address. Ms. Cox will give you a 10-second warning, and come forward, please.
Good evening, everyone. Madam Mayor, members of the commission, and all the great citizens of Fort Pierce that's here today and watching today. My name is Mr. Mario Wilcox. I'm no stranger. I stand before you today in light of these circumstances, also to bring a concern. We're here to discuss special election. And through the whole conversation, it said District 2. The only mention of District 1 was Madam City Attorney's mistake on that slide. But I want to say District 1 is not a mistake. District 1 is a group of citizens, taxpaying citizens. And as taxpaying citizens, we are impacted by this as well. We're impacted. You know, District 2 may have a more direct impact, but let's be honest, Fort Pierce is a city of a whole, not in parts. Now you represent by districts because you're spreading the wealth to keep from overlapping or to everyone working on the same thing at one time. I got that. Also, you're represented by districts to make sure there's fair and equitable representation. I got that. But I'm here today to make sure our tax dollars are being spent in a fair and equitable manner as well. So I'm along with Commissioner Gaines, except I want to just piggyback on what he said about that $60,000. One, where is it coming from? Madam Mayor, you answered that question. You said budget haven't been approved. Mr. City Manager said there are some options. I would like to throw another option out here. Why is District 1 tax dollars funding a campaign in which we're not going to have any say-so in? There shall be no taxation without representation. Thank you.
Who's next? Who would like to go next? I heard the voice, but
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Frederick Jackson, 902 Hickory Street here in Fort Pierce, Florida. First of all, I definitely want to extend my apology. Apology for everything that's developed overall. Next, I want to, assuming that everything is moving forward appropriately in accordance, I want to voice my concern that Perhaps we could look at the next commissioner as well as those that are present on the council to give great consideration on how to move forward in matters that do take place like this. Maybe not in particular, thank God, is such a degree as it is, but there have been several instances where city employee, whether it's the city law enforcement officer, whether it's a regular employee, whether it's someone on the commission, manager, or whatever. But to be sure that everything would move forward with, all of the facts, information, as well as not to be brushed over, whatever the findings are, not to be brushed over and not to be so much overkill, because at the end of the day, things are what they may be, whatever the final findings is. So I want to definitely request that that we would give great consideration, that we would move forward, because whatever as we have experienced in the past and presently experiencing now and may experience in the future, because people are people and mistakes, crimes, this, that, it takes place. But that we will look carefully on the side of the one that is accused and the one that actually bring forth the allegations or the charges of what or facts, present, even forward. Not only them, but with great consideration, because at the end of the day, they need, what resources as well. I'm kind of looking around, 'cause I'm not sure about the time, but definitely let me know, I know you will. But for sure, at the end of the day, not only the individual or the individual that brought forth or that will bring forth or in that matter, to have the necessary resources and services that would be needed for both to come back. Because there are some people that are guilty, some people are not. Some make great comebacks, some don't. But however, because not only them, but their family, considering their employees, their coworkers, their
Thank you,
church,
sir.
and their community. Each side.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, Mayor Hudson, City Manager. I'm Joyce Jackson, and I'm here to represent some very important people in our lives. One of them is a retired educator who's in her late 80s, and the other one is her son who has retired to come home to take care of his mother. The noise that comes from the liquor store, the drive-through parking lot at North Avenue Inn and 25th Street, has this lady in her bed with her Bible across her stomach, praying for the noise. I have had help from my city commissioner. I've had help from my police department, and the son is getting more. Well, our department, as mother of law enforcement, it states that we honor and we serve in honor. And this young man had a message the other night when he called to report it. And I have reported to him, don't continue to call the Fort Pierce Police Department. Call 911 and maybe you can get the county out there better. I know we are low in officers, but there's some of them who, because of our district, has no business or no idea that they need to protect us as they do other parts of Fort Pierce. And this officer said to the son, after he was already upset about the noise on early Sunday morning, what do you want me to do? And he has his name, and he has spoken to our now acting police chief about this situation. Mayor Hudson, you know this has been going on more than a year now. Commissioner Gaines, I think, has even spoken to him. But it's not right. This lady is a retired educator. She goes to church, she goes to the doctor, and she goes home. And all she wants is some rest. And it's just not fair. I know we have some officers who, as I stated earlier, because like I say, I'm mother of law enforcement, and every officer out there knows who Joyce Jackson is. And I'm begging for the city manager and whomever else can help us get in touch with me and let me give you the name and addresses of this mother and her son. I know how she feels because my son did the same thing for me. He stopped working, he got hurt, came home to take care of his mother. Mayor Hudson knows this as well as officers in the police department. So please, please help. City manager,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm leaning on you.
I will contact you, Ms. Jackson.
Everybody will tell.
You know that I
somebody
will.
Answer when I start calling.
You know that I will contact you.
I know
I'll be
you will,
I'll be in
honey.
touch.
Thank you. Thank you for making the effort to come down. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Who's next?
Mayor, Commissioners, my name is Charlie Wilson. I want to congratulate you on a couple of things. One is to understand how important this is and how important moving quickly is. The ability to get a resignation from Mr. Taylor has very much helped the situation, and it's about time that, unfortunately, Mr. Taylor did something on behalf of the citizens that he was elected to represent. So, because you've got a new city manager who's in his new period, you've got a new police chief that you've got huge developments in the queue to be decided upon. You've got huge things to do. And this is all going to take place relatively soon. Now, the smallest time that you can have to do a special election is 90 days. That's determined by the amount of mailing time you have to get military ballots out to military personnel across the globe. We are taking 107 days, which is acceptable because, especially since you have the holidays in between. But it's too bad that this has to fall and go into the 26th. Now, it can be done. There are just a couple of things that you should think about when you're doing the elections. Mr. Gaines, I appreciate what you're saying about keeping it all even, but I want to point out in District 2, there are at least 2 precincts that have under 50 voters. Now, if you're going to make them open the entire precinct, which includes staffing them with at least 3 people and opening locations so that you can have less than 50 voters, and that's not sure that's really as good a use of time. There are also, because there's no requirement for you to have one precinct, you can combine them for this, and you should think about combining some of this. I also want to point out that, as far as I know, and I could be mistaken, there are no traditional early voting locations in District 2. The 2 traditional early voting locations you have both reside, I believe, in District 1. So none of the people that think they're going to come to early voting are going to go to their normal place where they go to early voting. So if you really want to have early voting for District 2, you're going to have to choose another location, and you're going to have to put them there. So you probably could save $20,000 by doing some very small changes to be reasonable in this election period. However, I understand the importance of it, and I understand the importance of us doing this where we're a community together. District 2 is going to have to do some healing, and my hat's off to Commissioner Broderick for leading the charge with some of the other elected officials, Congressman Mast and some of the state legislators, to work with the governor, and I believe that helped move Mr. Taylor into the right direction about getting this resignation done, and my hat's off to you for doing that. It is unfortunately that the majority of the weight now will move to you as the only other commissioner from District 2, along with that of the mayor. So I think you really should think about some election information, if you will.
Sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Who would like to go next?
Hi, my name is Ronna Perry, and I reside in White City. I just wanted to express our deep sadness and shock over what has happened, but also our concern just hearing that it's going to take at least 4 months to get someone else to represent District 2. It's concerning that we won't have representation for our area that's very important to us. So I don't know if there's other means to put somebody in to work with Mr. Broderick, or if this is just how it has to go. But it is a concern that we will not have 2 people representing us. Just wanted to share that.
Thank you very much. Who else would like to go? Who else? Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay. Seeing no movement, if there's nothing else from the commission, Commissioner Gaines?
Well, I just want to follow up on two things. You always, as a son of former educators, Madam Clerk and Madam Attorney, if there is some way that if what was said, 50 people in one precinct or no early votings, can we look at that just to see if money can be saved? If not, I don't want to take voting from anybody, but if it's some way that we can look into trying to save some money and give everybody the opportunity and a place to vote early if they want to vote early, I would ask that we look at that just to see, and if supervisor election office come back and say no, then at least we made the attempt to do so. Last thing I want to say, Madam Mayor, is can Fort Pierce be the example of the nation? Can we not make this political?
Thank you. Please.
Can we not make this political? Why we're here has nothing to do, right side, left side, middle side, east side, west side, wherever we are. It has nothing to do with that. So can we all come together to put, as Commissioner Johnson first did when he was elected? We wear these pins. Now is the time to say, yes, we are one Fort Pierce. And let's everybody move together to make sure that we set the example for the nation. We're in a situation, we're gonna fight for everybody, and for the young lady that just spoke, I don't want you feeling that you don't have representation. As long as I'm sitting in this seat, and I know I was voted for the residents of District 1, but if you got concerns about District 2, my door is always open, and I will listen to your concerns, and I will come to this board and present your concerns, because in my eyes, you are a resident of Fort Pierce. I don't go by them lines, and anybody in here that has come to see me know that. I take all complaints and try to handle them, so don't feel that you will not be represented. So if you don't hear anything else, but can we just move forward, leave the politics out, and let's make Fort Pierce a better city moving forward.
Yes, and I would like to add too, that when you're elected, even though you're elected and the voters of one area of Fort Pierce choose you, these commissioners up here take it very seriously that they need to look at the whole city. And the mayor is the only one is elected citywide, but commissioners are elected in a district. But that's the first thing that they learn when they walk in here is they're making decisions for the whole city. And so I appreciate you saying that. Commissioner Broderick, did you have something to?
A couple of quick comments. One, I agree with the commentary about an early voting location in District 2. The two current are Supervisor Election Office and
Zora Neale.
Yeah. So the two prominent or heaviest polling stations in District 2 is the Days Inn and the church out in Precinct 16 out on the beach.
West side on the beach,
So I'm going to suggest, can we pursue shifting the early voting? The Supervisor Elections Office, I think, is still fine because everybody's out traveling and shopping or whatever, but I think we need a location within the precinct. That's point number one. So if we could investigate that, I think that'd be helpful. Two is that I think the two lightest polling stations in District 2 is the polling station up in the north section of the district.
60.
Yeah. No, it's
60.
60.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
60.
then I think it's the church on Oleander.
40, that's precinct
40.
40.
I think those are the two lightest turnouts, if memory serves me right. So we may want to consider that as a cost-saving measure. So I think let's enumerate the number and see if there's some value to cut that step. But I believe it's critical to get an early voting location in District 2. And then thirdly, I'm going to request from the city clerk's office as an accommodation to my residents in District 2 to accommodate all their needs. If I need to expand office hours here at City Hall, I'll be more than happy to do so. So I want everybody that has an issue in District 2 that wants to speak to a representative from District 2. I appreciate Commissioner Gaines's input, and I know Commissioner Johnson's the same way. It's the responsibility, frontline responsibility falls to me, but I do appreciate the backup. So I will expand my office hours to whatever needs to be done to accommodate any requests for time with me.
And I'd be happy to back you up too.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Commissioner Johnson.
So I want to add one thing to that point. Let's just make sure that we're not looking at voter turnout when it comes to elimination of a district. I heard you say that. Those voter districts are put there based on the potential of people voting there, right? And what we don't want to do is close something because they had poor turnout before.
Agree.
And people go looking for it. So let's have a balance there to make sure we're evaluating it. But my initial thought was exactly this. We need to look at the numbers. We need to see if we can financially and fiscally do the right thing here, providing fair opportunity for everybody to vote, but yet let's make sure we're maximizing our dollars when it comes to this. The last thing I want to say about this, and you're right, Commissioner Gaines, it's one for Pierce. We all up here take the responsibility very seriously. We'll meet with you no matter what district you live in, as long as it's in the city boundaries of Fort Pierce. And it's important that you say that, but I'll say this, is that there are a lot of people that are hurting. This has triggered some things in our community from people who may have had, unfortunately, too much of a personal experience with this type of behavior and activity. And I would just ask for those that are out there, and this is a very praying community, to pray for our community right now. There are people that instantly are triggered by this, and business owners that have put faith in elected leader, and they are hurting as well. And so I would have to say that this community has weathered a lot of storms. We will get through this. There is the commission has acted within our jurisdiction of what we have to do here, but there's a whole nother court process that's going to be played out, unfortunately, in the public, and that's going to be the judge, the lawyers, and all of that stuff that goes on. And unfortunately, Fort Pierce is going to endure this while that process begins to go, and it's going to start obviously with the charging documents and all that stuff, but that's way beyond this city commission. We're going to run the city. We're going to be here to serve, but I just ask for those prayer warriors in our community to pray for the victim of this young person, this young child, and we have that going on, unfortunately, in our community right here in Fort Pierce. And so just pray for Fort Pierce, and let's try to get through this. And last but not least, as we lay a young firefighter to rest this coming Saturday, a number of us, I know the mayor and I sit on the fire board. I'm the chair of the fire board. And so that family is hurting. Our community is hurting right now. And this just unfortunately compounds that. So I just ask for you out there that believe in the Lord, just continue to keep Fort Pierce in your prayers. Thank you.
Mayor, just a quick follow-up and we can get out of here. Thank you for that, Commissioner Johnson, but I'm going to take it a step further. Yes, I believe in prayer wars, but I also believe in people that went to school to help people in these type of situations. And if I have city employees, as you said, that could be triggered by something, please seek the help that the city provides to deal with whatever issues you're dealing with. We provide that help. And if need be, if I reach out to the St. Lucie County or the St. Lucie County schools that might need something that might everybody know, reach out to the people. So I'm asking my colleagues from the county to open up something at the county offices if any employees might need to talk. And if my colleagues are here from the St. Lucie County School Board, let's do the same thing. Reach over, because you never know what this triggers or who this could affect. And let's make sure that we have the resources in all three of these bodies to help these individuals.
That's a good point. And Ms. Hedges, we have offered that to our employees. And
Madam Mayor, Commissioners, we have risk management has been working, our office in consultation with the city manager to provide services on site, our employee assistance program. We've had multiple days. There's something scheduled for tomorrow as well. So we are working with employees to offer any services that we can.
to support our staff.
Absolutely.
Right. Because this has been a hard-hitting situation. Okay, anything else? Anything else? All right, so we're going to adjourn, and so what we'd like you to do is, if you'd move out of the chamber, and that includes the media, if you move out of the chamber, they'll be turning off the lights. If you want to talk to anybody, you can talk to them out in the foyer. We will be adjourning right now, so please move out to the foyer. Thank you very much.